Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Forzel and Maru with the Language of Consciousness Institute. And one of the things that we're interested in is working with coherent fields that are coherent with the field of Tantramat, which the Institute is part of. And one of them, we've had a very exciting event last Friday. We got to work with Sandra from the Quantum BioEngineering. And one of our members, Maru, has actually been working with Sandra for over a year and a half, I think now, right? So we're interested in, I think, to let people know just real briefly what Sandra's work is. And then what we thought we'd focus on this morning was how do the templates with the Language of Consciousness Institute kind of interface with and support the work of Sandra of Quantum BioEngineering. Maru?
Thank you. I'm very happy to be here with you, sharing about all these wonderful discoveries that I've been doing in the last few years. And the Quantum BioEngineering Institute is guided and created by Sandra Fernandez. She was born in Spain, but lives in Morocco, in the Saharan desert. And she has this wonderful ability to really be in those multidimensional spaces, okay, and have access to information and things that, she says everyone can have, and that she's teaching us to have it. And so Quantum Bioengineering was born as both a healing methodology, but also an educational methodology. That is, teach you how to manage your own energy, how to manage things. So that's wonderful, because for me, it really empowers people. It's not something that is done on you, although it can be done on you. I mean, I am trained as a therapist, so I can perform a therapy session, especially at the beginning when people are all blocked and stuck and might have a lot of issues and things just there that don't allow them to go on. And eventually the objective is to make people aware, conscious of their own powers, of their own abilities and gifts, so that they can actually manage their own energy and then fulfill their soul's dreams. And so that's what quantum bioengineering is. It has been growing. It has only been for the public for about 6-7 years. So it's really new. She's very young, and she has trained in many different things, but definitely this is what she wants to do now. And so that's Quantum BioEngineering Elektra, more or less. Very, very, succinctly, it's based on the heart, okay? Through the heart is where we can access all the information in the quantum field, all the information that our heart, our soul needs in a certain moment in time to just readjust our path, let's say.
In quantum bioengineering, they do focus on the heart, and the heart is I have a question about it. When you're feeling your pulse, does that really just to make you sentiently aware of the heart and make that relationship between the heart, what your heart's doing, and you stronger? Or does it actually change, or does the heart rate change in that process?
Well, it does change. It changes. Actually, she was in touch with a discovery of a French physician called Paul Nodier. You can look at it in the web. And he made this great discovery that the pulse actually changed in frequency, or even stopped a beat, okay, when there was something that the heart wanted to say. Oh. And so it actually does change. It takes a little bit of training, because we're so used of using our minds,
right,
that we don't really pay attention to those little changes, okay, in the beat of the heart. They made an experiment in Peru some years ago when Tantra was teaching this in Peru, and a doctor actually brought into the room this equipment to measure the beats of the heart. And he confirmed that, yes, it did change. Whenever, I mean, it's like this kinesthetic things that you detect a change, okay, in the body, in the physical body. But this way, you don't need an equipment, just you need the pulse. And then you can detect, it's a yes, no, it's a binary system, okay, a yes, no. So you can say, where is it? Or where, when you're scanning a person's field, okay, you get this change there, and that means there's some information here that I need to attend. Okay.
Okay, so
that's the physical beat of the heart, the change in the pulse. Okay. And then what Sandra discovered, because this physical thing was discovered by this French physician, Paul Noguet. But what Sandra discovered when working with this was that she could then sort of open the field, and with the intention of helping always, okay, the intention is and compassion, then she could get access to information that the heart of the person, or if you're working on yourself, your own heart, has for you. And you can actually see or hear, or depends on your own abilities, what exactly is the disorder, okay, that's causing whatever, and then you formulate, okay, to get that disorder back into order, back into coherence. Okay, so there's two things. One is the physical change in the pulse, okay, so that's physical. But then what Sandra calls the quantum toroidal pulse is this layer underneath the pulse of the heart where you can get access to the quantum field of information. Okay. You can focus on a person, okay? If you're a therapist, you can focus on your own field, okay, or you can focus in the collective. Could be a group of people, I mean, my group of students or my family, or it could be my whole town. Or if you want to go further, you could go at humanity at large. Okay. So it depends on the scope.
But that's setting your intention, right?
Exactly. Your intention is very important, because if your intentions are not good, just as Harry Potter, you remember? If your intentions are not good, then information does not flow. Okay? And you have to have compassion. Because it's without judgment. Okay? You have really to be neutral in your approach. Okay?
That's where people's mental ideas sometimes get in the way. Like if what you're hearing is not what you want to hear, or it doesn't come in a way that you expect it to come in, then a lot of times the mind starts taking over.
Yes. Yes.
Now,
so, yeah, you have to be very careful.
With the language of creation work, we spend a lot of time with sentient intelligence and the writing process. How do you interface these two? Because it sounds like the heart as a message system, as an avenue in to discovering the body, is kind of the core of Sandra's work. And our work tends to look more at the sentient intelligence of the body doing the informing through the writing. And I was wondering how you were, because they're two different focus systems aimed at the same thing, but but very different. But they're not aimed at the depth of healing, I think, that Sandra's work is. I mean, that's kind of my impression.
Well, actually, our gut brain, or visceral brain, okay, the gut brain, is connected to the heart. I mean, they're not separate. They're a single thing. What I consider is that our gut, okay, the sentient registers that we get, are also an access to this quantum field of our own information, right? You're just going into that quantum field to get the information. Now, the soul, the seat of the soul is actually in the heart, right? It's through our heart, because if you look at the toroidal field, okay, we have the toroidal field, the bigger one, and then we have one around the heart, right? The other one. Okay, that's stronger actually than the whole field, and it's stronger than the brain field. Okay, so it is the heart where you have the connection to infinity. You have your connection to the quantum field.
Mhm.
We as animals, okay, because plants don't have this. I mean, plants have their own field, okay, but we animals also have a gut, right? And there's where you can feel the butterflies in your stomach, or pinching, or contraction, or whatever. But that's more of a reaction, okay, to whatever is happening around you or inside of you, of course. Okay, but that it's a way in. It's a way in.
Yeah.
Now, what we do with the templates actually is translate that information that we get through the sentient registers. They just tell us, pay attention here. The sentient registers say there's something here, okay? Just as a change in the beat. Now, going into the information is another matter. Now, I use, for example, if I am to work on somebody, or if I wake up in the morning and say, I'm not quite myself today. So something must have happened in my dream state, or something got me a little bit out of my alignment. And sometimes I can't even connect with the pulse. I am a little bit anxious, let's say. So I begin writing an observing template to see where I am, okay? And what that helps me is to get that visceral or that sentient register to sort of have a little bit more of language of what it is, what it's saying. Okay, so I can discern more or less, oh no, it's going this way, or it's going that way. And it depends sometimes with an observing. By the end of the fourth recursion, a final recursion, I can get, oh, this is what's bothering me. This is what's not what it should be. I can go directly then to treat myself with quantum engineering and say, okay, so the disorder, okay, and I can test myself with my pulse and test myself to see if there's a place in my field where I can find that I already have more or less an idea of what it is, right?
Okay.
Sometimes I can go from the observing to a craving.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so I say, okay, now this is what's bothering me. So how can I, what is it that I really want? Okay, and then it depends, and I'm not sure when I do what. I wouldn't be able to tell you when I do what, but the creation exercises, the templates give me language to what I feel. But if I want to work with somebody else, or if I want to teach somebody else, I really need this ability to read on the quantum field of that other person, okay, in order to be able to do something. Okay, insert information, erase information, okay, adjust. And well, usually, well, now things have changed, but usually not in the first session, but you can actually reconnect them with their essence or their soul plan. Okay, if you eliminate those detours that we sometimes take during our lifetime, and that just keep us away from our soul plan, so you can just bring them back in alignment with what they are. And sometimes after a session, I do have to write creation exercises to really put language into what I felt or what I sort of got, but have no language for it.
Mhm.
Okay. But that thing about the language, I understand that it has to do with my mind, my historical mind that needs something to grab on in order to get meaning. But that's something that not all people have, not all cultures have. But we're so adept to our thoughts to give meaning.
Well, that brings up the other thought is one of the things that we're trying to do with the templates is one, people have greater access to their deeper wisdom by the time they get to the end of a recursion, right? And the embodies phrase, certainly at the end of the fourth. And they become more aware of, oh, that's what I really want. I don't really want a red convertible. I'm really after having really fun with my friends, being with my friends, if that's your final embodies phrase. The other side of it, from the physical side of it, is we're always looking at expanding the neural networks. So by writing a craving recursion, you take on a simplistic level, maybe there's a network that has 4 options in it, right, for response to a stimulus. What we're trying to do is give it 20 after you have written 1 craving, so that a particular neural network, when triggered, is no longer a reaction limited to 4, but options limited to 20. It seems to me, I'm trying to see the interface, and it seems like we really do have an interest in the mind, and the focus and the language goes there. When I had a session with you, it was like all of a sudden I was aware of different things that I wasn't aware of before. So the work that you do when you're doing quantum engineering, bioengineering, isn't as direct mentally, it's more direct energetically, but it can have the same effect of opening up the options within the historic mind, so that you aren't limited to the not you, the person isn't limited. It's interesting to watch the interface, and I really think we're richer because we have both. You know, and then Julio's work takes another look at the mental side of it and the emotions. And emotions are mostly fed from the heart. So I'm really fascinated with this, how these, it's like, well, it's just 3 different dynamic looking observings of the human system, and providing different access points. Like we access through language and focus on the mental. Quantum bioengineering focuses through the heart and the energies of the different parts of the information in the field. And then Julio's work seems to focus on this, how language and emotions in the body talk with one another to create the kind of world that we want to have. So we're so much richer because we do this. I have to thank you for bringing this into our field. I mean, you know, it's a high quality training. I'm just amazed. I would really tell people to, if you could give people some contact points for yourself, if somebody is interested in healing work, or and Sandra's work, because I just want to tell people, what you are after is your greater wisdom. And as Maru said, your soul's conversation, while you're here, you can see that there are a variety of ways to come to it. And there is no one way that is the only way. And I think that's really critical, that it's a magnificent system, the human soul and body, magnificent. It's just, I don't know, somebody really smart had to have created this whole thing. But the way it interfaces and the way that we can change ourselves is really the option you have now. And we want to give you that option, not only our work, the Language, the Institute, which Maru is one of our mentors in that, so she can help you with that. She's also a healer and a teacher with the Quantum BioEngineering School. And there's a number of us that are involved in Julio's work, the Newfield Network. So come and play with us. But before we leave, Miss Maru, would you give your contact information for people so that if they'd like to experience a healing or if they want to know more about Sandra's work, they have a way to do that?
Oh yes, of course. Maybe we could post underneath in the video also my my email address. Okay, so that we can, because if I spell it, I'll spend a long time with with it right now. So
Okay,
Maru,
make sure it's posted.
Maru Bioingeniería Cuántica, because it's in Spanish. Okay, so it's quite long. So I think we better write it. And of course, they can reach me through the Language of Consciousness Institute. Okay, and the Quantum Bioengineering page is all in Spanish right now. They are still considering translating everything into English. So yeah, the best thing would be through the Language of Consciousness Institute, and we'll just write down my email at the bottom so that people can have an idea.
Wonderful. Well, thank you very much, Maru. We so appreciate everything you brought into this field and everything you give us in the Institute. So thank you, everybody, for spending some time with us today. And goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.